We're making Grandma's cherry pie today, just in time for Thanksgiving. Welcome to Help at Home, your resource for great recipes and easy learning. I'm Jim Hightower. Today we're making Grandma's cherry pie, and that's Grandma Maudie Garrett to you. So grab your pen and paper, here come the ingredients. And if you want to print it out, be sure to check out the description below, because I always type it up. You'll need 1 can of red tart cherries, and don't drain it because you need the juice. Half cup sugar, and of course, for my favorite diabetics, use 1/4 cup of Splenda sugar blend instead of half a cup of sugar, and you'll be good to go. 3 tablespoons flour, 1/8 teaspoon salt, that's about a pinch, 2 tablespoons butter, a recipe of buttercrust pie dough, or you can get the frozen roll-up dough, half a teaspoon of almond extract or almond flavoring. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees. In my pan, I have my cherry juice, sugar, flour, and salt. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my burner, and just want to let you see that. I'm just going to whisk it together. There, it's smooth, and I want you to see. Also, have a nice flat wooden spoon, and see, you're supposed to cook this until it thickens and bubbles. You don't want it too thick. See how it drips right off the spoon really fast because it's thin. So I have it on about medium heat, and you just want to stir it around with your spoon. You do not want it to scorch. And here I am, I'm done. It took me less than 3 minutes on this convection stove here. I even had to keep turning it down, and you stir constantly again so it doesn't scorch. Now here's the deal. Look how it drips for a much longer time, and it's slowly coming off the spoon there. Also, it lightly coats the spoon, see? And that's it. You don't want it too thick. Go ahead and put in your 2 tablespoons of butter. Go ahead and put in your half teaspoon of almond extract. You might be asking, why don't you put in the almond extract before you start cooking? Well, extracts can be alcohol based, and you don't want to cook away your flavor. Stir in your butter till it melts. Of course, we're off heat now. The aroma of the cherries mixed with the almond extract, yummo. Set this aside. You'll need a pre-baked pie shell, cooked long enough just so that it's not completely raw, to protect against a soggy bottom, as Julia Child would say. You're going to put your cherries right in. You're going to take your filling here, pour it right on top. I will taste this, but I'm going to cool it. I oftentimes think that a nice shake will do it, but sometimes it doesn't. So you can just spread it around. Now, just when you think you're done, you're not. Meanwhile, back in the refrigerator, I had rolled out some pie dough, and we're going to do our crisscross pattern on top. Some call it basket weave, some call it lattice. Cut about 1/2-inch strips. Alright, here's my pie. I'm going to talk about lattice work, basket weave. Too much trouble, you'd get frustrated, you're not going to do it. So if you have the time, you can do it. But we're not. I found this quick method from Betty Crocker. So you take your strips, lay them across, and as you do it, you can cut them to fit. Alright, so there's one part. Then here's a nice curved piece to put on the edge, and it hides any imperfections. I'm going to set this other curved piece over here. See how nice that is? So basically this easy method is, don't weave the basket, just lay it right on top. Cut them to fit. And there you go. You can be as elaborate or as plain as you want. You don't even have to put any crust on top, but it is a traditional thing. Now, you've got to protect the edges of your crust or they will overcook. So, you get one of these handy dandy silicone pie crust edge covers, and you want to make sure it's firm on there, because if it's loose, it won't do a good enough job. And then you push it into the little hole there. Put it in that oven, 425 degrees, in the lower third for about 10 minutes. Then we'll lower it to 350 for about another 20 to 35. Cooking tips. You want to watch this. After you lower it down to 350 and it's cooked for about 10 or 15 minutes, start checking on it. It should be done when the top crust is nice and brown and cooked and it's starting to bubble up in between the crust there. So be sure and watch it. If you overcook it, it will kind of boil and fluff up, and it'll taste just fine, but it'll look a little bit bigger, and nobody wants that. Here it is just out of the oven, and let's talk about your silicone cover here. Okay, just because it's oven proof doesn't mean it won't burn the fire out of you. Trust me. Here. So, let it sit for at least 5 minutes, and then test it with your fingers, and then you can take it off. I can't tell you, I've done it more than once, so don't burn yourself. Here it is. And see, my edges are nice and brown, but not overdone. And if I wanted my pie crust a little bit more done, I could slide it back in with the cover off, because it's just going to be in for a few minutes. So let this cool for at least an hour. This is very hot, and it stays very hot for a long time. And you don't want to burn your mouth either. So 1 hour at least, and then check and see. Or room temperature to the touch. Cookbook notes. Be sure that you write your notes in your very own cookbook. I put 10 minutes at 425, 30 minutes at 350 with a pre-baked pie shell. You get the same results every time. Your oven will be different than mine, so be sure and write down how long it took for you. And that's all there is to it. If you like this recipe for Grandma's cherry pie, a holiday favorite, or for any time, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends who like to cook or just want to learn how. Drop me a line in the comments below about your experience with this recipe and what else you'd like to see in the kitchen. Click the bell in the top right hand corner for notifications. I'm Jim Hightower, and remember, everyone needs help, even me. We're making what are we making? I don't know. Ay. Welcome to the blooper reel. We're making Grandma's cherry pie blopper. See how it dips. It dips. There we go with me and flour again.